It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Agronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show.
Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 562. Tonight I'm joined by Ace.
Hello.
Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hello.
Kodra.
Reading the skill explains the skill.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Hi there.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, sometimes.
If you're lucky.
with variable levels of success. Like
This week I learned that war cries don't work with strikes that have multi-strike support.
They do not. They do not at all.
That doesn't make any sense to me. It's actually quite unintuitive and is not mentioned anywhere in any of the skills, and you can only find out by reading a wiki.
Yeah, like I only know this because people have complained about it.
I am here to also complain about it.
I think it's something about that the first strike eats the war cry, and that's the weakest
none of them
one?
work. You just get no
None of
zerks
them
at
work.
all if the attack is repeated.
Yep.
Weird.
It's
So echoing
so
shrines
weird.
screw with you too, then.
Yes.
Bizarre. Like intuitively I would have thought that the weak first attack is what eats the proc, but
I mean, I would be totally fine if it was just the weak first attack that eats the proc. Whatever. Like, I'm still getting some benefit. Like, I'm still using war cries. Anyways, this game is so unintuitive. I love it so much now that I'm, like, starting to figure it out. But goodness, it's been a kill to climb.
speaking of ARPGs, this week Dragonkin went into 1.0, I believe.
It did, in fact.
All I remember is that it had a bad UI, and that's really all I remember of playing it.
It is significantly improved. The last time that I checked it out was a demo version, very early access, and I think maybe I made it through the prologue and was just completely frustrated by the UI, by the way the skills worked, by pretty much everything, and bounced pretty quickly. But it was releasing in 1.0 this week, and I had actually been hearing relatively good things about it, and figured I wasn't gonna let a very early access experience color my total opinion of the game. So
I
another
also really
chance.
disliked Last Epoch in early access.
Hey, that's what I said.
I mean, I played a lot of Last Epoch in early access, so
I don't know if you played it in the version I'm talking about.
maybe
I played in the bad one, the one that was then good, the one that was bad again, and then the one that we have now. It was great.
yeah.
It went through some times in early access.
It had some ups and downs. You expect that, right?
Yeah.
And this game actually seemed to clean up its act. It's not perfect. Like, I definitely still have some complaints, but the combat feels way better. Yeah, like the skills and everything seem to work together a lot more smoothly. It's really pretty to look at. I've been running around just a couple of the early zones, and like it's extremely pretty. It it rewards my bad habits because there you have like a town, and the town gets its own XP, and apparently one of the ways that you do that is by finding various points of interest on the maps as you're exploring. And so my really bad instinct to full clear maps is actually paying off, because I'm discovering all of these like panoramas that let me pause and see an interesting vista of what the zone looks like while my little dragon flies around, and it's giving XP to my town when I do that. So that's been kind of fun.
So are you a dragon or do you just have a dragon?
Yes.
Okay. Is
Excellent.
everyone a dragon?
So technically, I think if I'm understanding the prologue correctly, like the player characters are all dragon touched in some way. I happen to be playing the one that's sort of the most obviously a dragon, but
Spellcaster.
yeah, but they're all somewhat dragon touched, and you also get a little dragon that follows you around and attacks things with you. And as you level and find new skills and things, you also add skills to the dragon. They seem to synergize with your skills. So the dragon might, like my dragon, shoots a little beam of acid at things when I cast some spells. And it's like it can see how that system is going to expand and get more complicated, and so that looks fun.
Oh, it has controller support.
It also has WASD support.
Also has W. Sure.
I remember it being like strictly builder spender, and I think they moved away from that, didn't they?
Yeah, they dropped that, and that's why suddenly the combat feels good, because now I can just run around and I can spam heavy attacks until I run out of mana, and that is great. And mostly I don't run out of mana before things die, so that is even more great. I'm definitely interested in checking out a couple of the different classes, but the spellcaster seemed interesting, and I know it has a few different summons available to play with. So I think the other option that has lots of summons is one of the melee classes, and I'll try that later.
Yeah, I think it's the essential tanky class that has summons, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I saw Aaron Action RPG talking about it, and I am sure if I keep playing this game, I will try that out. But for now, I am the spellcaster, and yeah, it's been fun. The spells are sort of like gems with supports, but also like it reminds me a little bit of Undecember, where you have a grid of things that you have to place around each other, and I'm still getting the hang of it. But I think once I figure it out and take the time to move skills around, you basically be able to, you have a hex grid, and you can, the way that you place the skills on the hex grid means that they can benefit from multiple supports, and multiple supports can all support multiple different skills. So it's definitely going to get powerful as I go along, but don't have a ton to play with quite yet. But I like that there's a town that you level up, and you have access to all the different crafting things that sort of grows with you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it will necessarily be a forever game, but I am definitely glad that I checked it out now that it's in 1.0. Definitely seems at least worth the time to try the campaign.
Yeah.
And we'll see if I get through that and see anything else before the last Epoch season starts. But it's been fun to play with. I'm happy to be surprised by it, because the concept seemed really cool when I first heard about it, and I was sad that the demo or in early access felt so terrible. And now it seems like it's kind of living up to some of its potential.
I'll have to check it out. I do like the idea of being like, you know, a little bit draconic.
Yeah, I mean, this game is definitely all dragons all the time. Like you are part dragon, you have a dragon, and you're fighting dragons. It's just dragons all the way down.
Do dragons feel big?
In the prologue, so it has a prologue where you're sort of doing the classic, like trying out the different classes at max level thing, and there's definitely dragons that feel big. Now that I'm in the campaign, it's mostly various dragonkin that feel like fighting dragon flavored regular things. I was extremely amused that like one of the very first zones is full of draconic cows and various draconic livestock.
Okay.
It was I enjoyed it because at least I'm not fighting rats and spiders, right? Like it was fun. I'm sure if there were rats and spiders, they would also be draconic.
I'm also told that unlike a certain other game, they actually finished their campaign before declaring it 1.0.
I have heard this, but I have not made it far enough to confirm or deny.
I think it originally had 1 act and there's 2 more acts, maybe something like that.
Currently 4 acts.
Yeah, I think there's
there's 4
4.
acts?
And it sounds like there's, at least a few different endgame systems to mess around with. So I've seen a bunch about them while it's been in early access, but never got that far, obviously. So curious to see what it's all about.
We also got a full drop of the patch notes for last Epoch, I think yesterday.
It's Christmas.
Very good news if you were not a fan of Tornado Werebear. If you were, we're so sorry.
You play Spellblade, and I do. There's a lot.
There's also a decent amount for Blade Dancer, which
The poor neglected child of rogues.
the
Right?
extremely poor neglected child of rogues. I'm
really
very-
excited about that one too, because that's the rogue that I keep trying to play, and the game keeps telling me like maybe don't.
Yeah, I'm not
Maybe it is
sure
now.
it's there yet, but one of the things that did happen is apparently Shadows can use explosive trap added to them.
Did
Which-
this really need to be? Does this really need to happen?
You know what? I don't know. I think people were using specific ways of doing explosive traps, and now I'm here to do other ways of explosive traps. Because I think that's really good for my way of using explosive trap, which is by bow. Like most people seem to be, I don't know, most people with detonating arrow and explosive traps seem to like to use gel cores.
But you want to use an actual bow.
I want to use an actual bow. So I might try that. But like, I'm actually kind of surprised. Maybe I don't understand how other classes work, which I know is already true. Like I already accept this about myself. But like if I look at Mage, I didn't feel like Spellblade was in the weak spot. I kind of assumed that was the weird Rune Smith one.
So no, it's the opposite, really.
That's not called Rune Master. What is it actually called?
I don't know. I never play it because
I played it like twice. It's very good.
I'm allergic to playing the thing that's good in a class that I like. Runesmith?
I think that's the new Pathfinder class. It is actually called Rune Master.
Aha. No, Rune Master is like good, like legit good. It's the mage build that's the one that's not just better than Spellblade, but for a really long time was why would you play Sorcerer? Like why would you play Sorcerer? Because you could just play Rune Master and it's better.
Almost every nerf on mages, with one exception, has been targeted toward Rune Master specifically.
Yeah.
Since season 1.
Yeah, it's quite good. Spellblade has mostly been it's been considered fine. Passable. As long as you don't want to do anything serious, it's good. But it's not. It scales very poorly.
That might be the case. I feel like the one thing that I did note is it lost a lot of its ward generation, it seems.
It lost a bit of its ward. Well, it depends on how much we're leaving on Mana Strike's ward node.
I think it lost a solid 50% of its ward. Like just eyeball it, like gut feel from the changes I saw. I think like my build is about half as much ward gen as it had before. which is a big hit.
But yeah, there's a whole like this felt like a lot of changes in those two particular areas. So I'm probably gonna want to try one of those two out because it turns out I'm starting to get to the point where I understand Last Epoch quite a bit. But I'm also just starting to get the shape of ARPGs in general, and so I kind of like trying out the new stuff and seeing what changed.
I think I definitely have Spellblade in mind for the start of the season.
I've been waiting for a big Spellblade patch because the Spellblade's been kind of samey since it released. Like there hasn't been something that's really shaken up Spellblade builds for me in a meaningful way. Whereas I feel like, for better or worse, this absolutely is doing so. I'll see how I feel about it. I think that there's a handful of things that as somebody who's played 5 Spellblades now, including more than one in a season, like the fact that you can have an all lightning build now is big because that wasn't possible before. And I think that significantly helps some of the scaling issues that Spellblade had, because lightning is pretty attractive, and there's a bunch of really cool stuff that keys off of lightning that you can do with Spellblade, but you couldn't actually get all of your damage as lightning. And because of that, it was kind of hard to get past a certain point because you just were splitting your stats too far.
What is attracting you to lightning?
Lightning blast.
Oh, interesting.
Like
yeah.
you can make
lightning blast can carry a bunch of weight.
So the thing that's really, really cool about a lightning Spellblade is you can get about 6 or 7 different things. It used to be like 3 or 4, and now there were a bunch of mage and Spellblade things that would be like, makes an arc of lightning occur. And you couldn't change that element, so all of that stuff was using lightning. But on top of that, all of that's been changed to procs lightning blast, not does zap or whatever lightning adjacent term they use to name the thing that's lightning blast but not.
Right. I'm now remembering my Dragorath's Claw build, and that is making some more sense as you're saying it.
I mean, Battle Mage's the unique sword, procs lightning blast on hit. And so there's just so many layers of, you can make lightning procs happen in really cool ways, but you couldn't get a big damage hit with lightning. But now you can with Shatter Strike. And I think that's going to be, like, the first thing I'm going to be trying is a pure lightning build and going really, really hard into all of the things I wanted to do before, but like felt like I had to split and try to juice Flame Reave as much as possible at half of it. So that part's really cool. Fire builds are also turned on in a really, really big way. Like previously, if you wanted to very seriously play a Spellblade, you were just playing Frost because that was the correct answer. And the Frost build is fine. Like, it's good. I just find it kind of boring, and also it doesn't work well if you're playing on controller. And to my knowledge, they haven't fixed that.
Why do you think that?
Because the Frost build is leaning really heavily on Frostclaw. Frostclaw really wants you to be targeting an enemy far from you so that it can travel through a bunch of enemies and get a bunch of more hits than it normally would and get bigger AoEs. But the controller automatic aiming system targets it at the closest mob, which is the least efficient way to use Frostclaw. So Frostclaw is really cool, but it just like doesn't work unless it doesn't play nice if you're playing on a controller versus if you're playing on a mouse. I wish they would do something, but that's been the thing that stopped me from playing. Because again, like when you get into higher tier, whatever their maps are called, monoliths, that bit where you're not like juicing that damage as much as you can really start to notice it. You absolutely will never notice it if you're playing with a mouse.
The other thing that I was looking at that I spent way too long on was different ways of doing Beastmaster, specifically looking at the Sabertooth nodes, which there's one node that I was like, oh my goodness, this seems like it's something that's completely exploitable and busted, which is your Sabertooth does more damage based on the number of stacks of Chill, without realizing that Chill has a max stacks count of 3, which definitely limits how busted I can make it. I still do think that there is a fun build with a whole bunch of cold pets and then go exploiting a bunch of early things in the shaman.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Because shaman has a bunch of like, you and your minions have chill chance and freeze chance on hit.
Shaman looks really interesting, actually, and maybe I should play around with that, because there is, like, the other thing I noticed was there's the ability to get avalanche on your scorpion stinger, which, let me tell you, makes me really wish I could somehow get avalanche and sabertooth together, but that is definitely not allowed.
Avalanche is past the chain in Shaman, right?
Avalanche is past the chain, and Sabertooth is also past the chain.
That one I knew.
But yeah, last Epoch, a bunch of new stuff. I looked at the new uniques and kind of squinted and don't feel like I fully understand any of them.
Oh man! I'm so excited about one of them.
There's
Same.
two that I'm really interested in. Like, I'm really interested in the beekeeper set. I want to see if I can build a beekeeper build.
I think the beekeeper
I
one looks
haven't looked
very,
at the
very
set.
funny. I think the beekeeper one looks very, very fun. I think the sets, the only unique that I think is like potentially really interesting is the Rogue Shadows one. Because I feel like that might be oversold. I don't know. They're trying to support it, but
Yeah,
the sets
they
actually made sets really interesting.
I'm really interested in the new boots for Necromancer
Oh,
that give you recursive minions.
I did not see these boots. Yeah, I probably care about these boots, don't I?
The Shadows boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Shadows boots are potentially really compelling. I'm all in on the make Weaver's Will stuff better. Like, do I think it's necessarily good? Hell no. Do I think that I'm going to run it obsessively because because Weaver's Will is my favorite mechanic, even though it's probably suboptimal and I just love running it? Absolutely. 100%.
How much they have buffed the numbers of things when you like get Weaver's Will on them? It's probably not even that suboptimal anymore.
I was getting pretty good stuff.
I will say the one that I remember staring at for an extremely long amount of time was Rhea's Embrace, and I could not figure, like, other than what they obviously are trying to get you to do, I could not figure it out. But maybe I should try that on a shaman, because that might make sense. Because one of the things that I'm realizing is that totems count as get stats from minion stuff.
Totems are technically minions, yes.
I think everything that you summon other than the Falcon counts as a minion.
The Falcon
is also a minion.
absolutely counts as a minion. It's ridiculous.
The Falcon is just an invincible minion.
Yes, the Falcon is an invincible minion. And you're like, well, that's only one skill. What other minions do you have? Ballistas. Like, the build Ace put together that I immediately stole was so powerful.
It was a good time.
I ran like one thing with you and I was like, oh my goodness, you're able to like move so fast through maps and also do so much damage. That was where that was definitely a build that like sort of opened my eyes to maybe I don't need a primary attack skill. Maybe I can just have nothing but long cooldowns and it's okay. That said, for some reason, while that felt really fun in last Epoch, I then was like, oh, maybe this means I'll really like EA Champion. Nope. For some reason, it's more fun in last Epoch. Probably because of the Falcon Dash, which is just the funnest button to press.
I logged in.
Hesitant to play another Necro because I always feel like there's this point with a Necro where between the end of Monoliths and the beginning of bossing, it starts to fall apart.
I don't know that that's necessarily true, but it does sometimes require some of the more annoying to get gear pieces to make everything feel correct.
What are is Necro? What are you doing on Necro other than just summoning a whole bunch of stuff?
What else is there to do but summon a whole bunch of stuff?
I wasn't sure if you were like blowing. Like, are you using sacrifice in there, or are you just more summons?
Mostly just more summons. I'm trying to remember exactly what I did the last time that I rolled Necro, but pretty sure it was just all the
You went
summons.
A-bomb, didn't you?
Eventually, yes. But that sort of hurts a little because the A-bomb sucks up some of your other minions. You can't have quite as many swarms of things.
Yeah, and really it's that swarms of things that are acting as a buffer between you and the rest of everything trying to kill you.
Yeah, but the A-bomb was super powerful.
Well, can't you resummon your minions once the A-bomb eats them, or does it not let you do that?
It depends. Yeah, if I remember correctly, it depends on the specific minion and what skills you have, or what skill points you have.
Aha. Yeah, because I was definitely looking at like, what could I do with this? I was like, oh, you can get a lot of minions on this build, on this Necro build. Maybe that makes sense. I still have not made a acolyte that I feel happy with.
Yeah, like for the most part, it was 2 to 3 bone golems, 2 wraiths, I don't know, like 6 or so mages, and then a bunch of exploding zombies.
Oh, so you're not running skeletal warriors at all?
Yeah, generally speaking. I mean, you can go down that path, but I don't know. Like the mages seem to do a better job of killing stuff, and also
Yeah.
mages give you a movement ability, and there's no movement ability by default.
Oh,
Transplant's
interesting.
movement ability.
Yeah, but you have to give up a minion to take transplant.
That's fair.
Mostly, I was thinking about when I was looking at. I was thinking about skeletons and having my mages blow them up for big damage, and then resummon more skeletons.
That is a build.
But yeah, I feel like I am extremely grateful for Last Epoch. I'm probably gonna always try and league start something with it, just because it is definitely coming up with a build feels way more forgiving and straightforward and easy to understand in that game.
Oh, that is one other thing I forgot to mention about Dragonkin, which is it lets you respec anything. You can change your skills, abilities, whatever, at any time for 0 cost. And that is so chill, and I love it.
Now, is it a thing like this is where I've been thinking about it, and I think one of the biggest differences between Last Epoch and Path of Exile is the fact that skills are gated to the class in Last Epoch, which is why I feel like classes A are more straightforward and B like everything feeds into itself very well. What's the situation in Dragonkin like with that?
It appears that skills seem to be fixed with the classes, but I don't know if that's just because I'm low level and I haven't found other things yet.
I really like it.
Yeah, it makes choosing a class feel like an actual choice, not just a position in a skill tree.
Yeah.
But I like it in general when games, especially ARPGs, where that they let me experiment and they don't like completely penalize me for it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's huge. Makes me want to play them more because I'll see something like, "Ooh, that seems cool," and also if the thing that I'm trying doesn't work, then I'm not just like, "Well, I quit. This sucks."
What is Pokemon Horizons?
Pokemon Horizons is the new show. I've talked about it a couple of times. I was just very impressed with it. We just got through a episode that had a like of what I feel like is what like when I think about the Pokemon anime. Sorry, I'm rambling. When I think about the Pokemon anime, I think it's very cool. I think like they've got the aesthetics of a Pokemon. It doesn't necessarily always feel like a Pokemon battle matches what you play in a game. And this is partially because, like, hey, they have the ability to animate stuff and maybe, like, being able to animate a cool fight scene between a Pikachu and a Onix is better than like, actually, this is a ground type. None of Pikachu's electric moves work.
Yeah, that does annoy my son every time.
So Pokemon Horizons is definitely caring about how the mechanics of the game work. And there was like, I kind of, as a case study, there's a battle that I just saw that was between a Charizard and a Cerulege. And these two had fought before, and the Charizard trainer knew the Cerulege had weak armor. And so they commented, it has weak armor, we have to keep that in mind, and proceeds to only attack it with Air Slash and Flamethrower, because those are special attacks. They won't break the weak armor. And then there is like a moment where there's falling debris that's coming towards the Charizard, and it's going to use Dragon Claw on the debris to survive. The Cerulege uses Phantom Force to get underneath the debris to take the Dragon Claw hit. So it got hit by a physical attack. The weak armor breaks, its speed rises.
Aha.
And then it begins using Phantom Force and a whole bunch of ghost attacks, at which point the Charizard trainer reveals the ace up his sleeve, which is terastallizing Charizard to Dark type and using Terra Blast on Cerulege, which is...
So I'm curious, because like just hearing you describe this as a fairly casual Pokemon thing, you lost me like 4 sentences ago.
Totally understand. It
Like-
looks cool, though. This is
I
the
only-
thing.
Like,
It-
I only just heard about Terastallize a couple of days ago from my son, and I'm still not like. Apparently, you can change Pokemon's
the-
types now.
It is the primary new mechanic for the most recent Pokemon games,
Aha,
because there's a new mechanic in every most recent Pokemon game.
this is true.
This
Usually
has been
it's making
true
them
for
get
the last
large.
like 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. Which I like, that totally makes sense to me. That one I follow. But I'm just like, oh, is like, are we doing like, is it followable if you're not already a giant Pokemon fan?
It is followable because I don't actually think like the things that they are doing still look cool. It just looks like if you aren't a big Pokemon fan, oh, Charizard's attacking. They do call out like, hey, don't you like try not to use these moves. And then like you can see you get to visually see, oh, you hit him with your claws, the weak armor breaks. Like it animates very well to make sense, but it also on a different level works from like within the Pokemon mechanics of the game.
Gotcha.
This is one of those things where it's like I find a lot of shows are trying to operate on multiple levels. This one is trying to operate both on like, oh, this is fun to watch, and this is also like a really interesting like display of like Pokemon battling. If you know what that is, you'll find that neat.
Yeah, I haven't watched any like full episodes of the show, but I have watched like a number of the Captain Pikachu being awesome clips, and yeah, the battles, like, even if I don't know necessarily the specific move being used, like, the battles look cool.
Captain Pikachu.
And Captain Pikachu is nonsense.
Captain Pikachu is absolutely nonsense. Absolutely earns the right to be the captain of this crew, because it really is like, oh yeah, this Pikachu is just like, level 100 cracked out of its mind. Everyone disregards it because it's a Pikachu, and to their peril. But they do really cool stuff with the animation, because like when Pikachu is attacking and moving, it feels like they are animating the show completely different, and it just sort of warps around him to make him just look fast and scary. But like it is also like I find this is very good with the other show I think about a lot, and I've watched a lot of, is Bluey, which is a show that works absolutely as a kid's cartoon, but also like there is so much there to like catch if you are an adult in the room watching it. And that's kind of how I feel about this one as well.
Yeah, I was wondering if this is more Bluey or more like X-Men 97. Because like
yeah.
X-Men 97 was great, but if like you're not caught up in what's going on with the X-Men, like you're gonna be lost in the first 20 seconds.
Yeah, but like my 4-year-old daughter loves this show and does not understand basically anything about the games of Pokemon.
But the creatures look cute and cool things are happening.
There's a Sprigatito, and Captain Pikachu is here to save the day.
What more do you need?
There's a Sprigatito, a Quaxley, and a Fuecoco.
What is as long as you're here?
Oh man, this is a short one. This is the other game. It is the other game that I got. That's like a emotional roller coaster. It's a game about Alzheimer's, in which you are the person with Alzheimer's. It opens up with a content warning, let you know, like, hey, maybe this will be hard for you. Like, take a break or take care of yourself if you need to. And boy, it's not kidding. But also like it's about an hour long, and it is doing some things with games as a medium that I don't think other media could do to portray the experience that it's trying to portray. And like the last time I saw a game that was this clever about sort of exploring the edges of what you expect in a video game and playing with that was like the Stanley Parable. But unlike the Stanley Parable, it is using it to it is making a very particular, rather than the Stanley Parable, which is making a very particular statement about video games. This is using a lot of that same kind of deep analysis of the medium to say something about Alzheimer's in this case, and it works really, really well. And it's just like it's really thoughtful and empathic in a way that I don't know that I call myself surprised by, but impressed by. Like it's a kind of a hard game to play.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really glad I played it. It recontextualizes some of my experiences with my extended family in a way that like I can understand them better, and that's really cool. It's worth an hour of your time.
So one of the things that Kodra's been doing in Last Epoch is kind of YOLOing a build, and one
PoE?
of in PoE. What did I say? Last Epoch or did I say
Yeah.
PoE? Okay,
Last
PoE.
Epoch, you can YOLO builds all the time.
Yeah. Path of Exile. So there's a boss that came along with Mirage, Suresh the Black, I think. And it's this evil, bad necromancer that like a lot of the minions that you end up fighting in the Mirages come from. And he drops a couple interesting items. And one of the items that stuck out that I happened to notice, and this is largely because Kodra was talking about playing with a staff and making a staff a defensible thing. There's this staff called Broken Elegy, and it is pretty wild. Like it can have up to 157 increased minion damage and up to 83% of physical damage converted to extra chaos damage. Also increases minion duration. Also summons 10 zombies that when they die give you a buff called Rotten Bulwark, which is basically just like a life shield for, I don't know, 1500 health or so. So like
Ooh.
this staff is pretty cracked on its own. I'm like, so can I build around this with chaos minions and do something interesting with it? And I know like you can sort of convert damage on your other minions to like at least do poison stacks, and that's a lot of the way that you do poison minions. So there's also a new belt called Screams of the Desiccated that makes it so that you cannot use flasks other than like basic flasks. You can't use utility flasks, but you get just 1 or 2 permanent shrine buffs. And one of the shrine buffs is Greater Skeletal Shrine, which just summons stupid amounts of skeletons all over the place. So I really leaned into just having a ridiculous number of minions, and before taking the skeletal shrine into account, I have 43 minions. And when the skeletal shrine is up, I probably have another 20 minions in addition to that. So I just kind of have this army of nonsense that rolls over top of things. And have built into defensively on the staff to where I've got max block of attack and spell, and am using the 2% life gain node that is a staff mastery. And I did not think that that would be comfortable enough, but it really is, especially if you have additional sources of regen.
Yeah, it's pretty comfortable.
And I've got around 5k life right now.
Do you have
what?
any ES?
Yeah, I have about 2000 ES.
Oh my goodness.
So 2000 ES, 5000 life. I'm gonna probably go in and get the 6 life masteries, which gives me another 10% on top of that. So I'll probably be around 6500 life or so in the final version.
I clearly am not putting enough focus on my survivability. How do you have those kinds of numbers is where my head went. Because right now I am at 2600 life and 870 ES.
Oh yeah, no, that's squishy as hell.
I don't know. I feel pretty durable still.
Yeah, I have around 2000 life regen and 5500-ish life and 2000-ish ES.
What class are you?
Guardian.
Okay.
And I'm getting most of my energy shield from the node that gives me energy shield based on mana reservation.
Yeah, I know. I did not.
Yeah.
Well, so are you using the thing that gives you 25 spell block and 25 block if you attack and cast spells?
No, I'm not. I'm actually using I'm dipping into a bloodline ascendancy. So King of the Mist gives you various benefits of giving up something. And since I'm using a belt that says I can't use flasks, I'm using Toad's Price and Unseen Hand, which basically makes it so I'm unaffected by poison, but utility flasks are disabled, but I have a 3rd ring slot.
Nice.
Unseen Hand is the most hilarious name for it. You have a 3rd ring slot.
But yeah, so pretty much my tree is either, I've got 2 staff clusters, and then everything else is either minion damage or life. That's all I've taken. And I'm trying to take as many jewel sockets as I can so I can stack poison chance on all the jewel sockets. I'm also running an All's necklace with envy on it because it's the only way I can get envy, because I can't use the weapon that's got envy on it since I'm using a big staff. But yeah, it's come together shockingly well. I'm running 2 life flasks and 3 writhing jars. That way I can proc the minions that proc off of corpses when I'm on boss fights.
I didn't think writhing worms left corpses.
It seems to be working. I'm also running Servant of Decay, which is giving me void spawns, which basically wither all the targets so that they take more chaos damage.
I'm briefly remembering this build. You probably need to dip down 2 passive points, if at all possible, to get Divine Shield.
There might not be enough armor to make Divine Shield worth it.
I've only got 4,000.
What does Divine Shield say? And maybe you're about to tell me I'm wrong because
cannot recover energy shield to above armor.
Okay. Do you not have 2,000 armor? Because 3% of physical damage prevented from hits recently is regenerated as energy shield per second.
Which is gonna be almost nothing if you don't have much armor.
Block
but I've got around 4,500 armor. So I have more armor than I have energy shield.
Yeah.
That's fair. Then yeah, you should probably take Divine Shield.
Yeah, block is part of damage prevention in the stack.
Nonsense.
So maybe
that's nonsense.
Maybe this doesn't work, but I think it does.
You know what? I'll try it. That'll be the next couple points that I take.
Like, I read a lot about the receiving damage wiki article as part of putting this build together and was pretty convinced that I was understanding it right, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I didn't take the reservation node. So I took Radiant Crusade and also the thing that gives me free hatred, anger, and the other one, wrath.
Yep.
And then I took Radiant Faith, which is giving me the energy shield and armor.
Yeah.
And then the third ring slot dipping into Nameless for that one. But like so far it's pretty good. And I anointed Death Attunement on my All's Amulet so that I didn't have to path up there to get that. And like part of the thing with this build is I'm not following any template, not even any of the previous SRS builds that I've played. I just started pathing. And for the most part, it seems to be working out pretty well. Like I have a different looking tree than I've ever had, but like it seems to be the logical way of pathing through the things that I'm going towards.
So are you mostly casting SRS?
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm just casting SRS.
Okay, no.
And then everything else is attacking. Everything else is attacking.
Yeah, I'm seeing the shape of this. My immediate thought is I understand this is probably a lot tankier, but when you say I want my minions to do chaos damage, I'm like, well, I mean, Necromancer is right there. Convert all minion damage to chaos damage.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have Butterboy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, part of the reason why I played Guardian is you can, raffle stomp the entire campaign with one minion. Because I was running Shield Charge and Convocate, and I would Shield Charge into a pack, Convocate the dude on top of the pack, and just watch it melt. So I was playing RF.
It is true. This minion is so slow.
Yeah. That's why you're going to Convocate it when you need to move it.
Well, I have Convocate on Automate.
Well, they sped it up, but like, no, you still need Convocate. Yeah, I had to drop Shield Charge, but now I'm leap slamming all over the place and convocating him into packs of things.
Are you doing? Do you have an offering?
No, I'm not running any offerings, and I have 3.5 million damage.
That's funny.
Bosses just kind of melt. Like
this build does sound fun.
Yeah, and it was just like I saw that staff and I saw the stupid belt, and I'm like, can I make something out of this? Yes, I can. It shocked me at how fast I could just basically, like, I exited the campaign and I ran a tier 10 map and it was fine, and immediately ran a tier 16 map and it was also fine. And I've just been doing all the red content that I normally do.
Yes, I clearly need to get more life somehow. Maybe I'll sit down.
Probably on your gear.
My gear all has life on it.
Yeah, but is
Not
it
enough.
like, a good life roll?
It's mostly a crafted life roll.
That's a no.
Yeah, you can get about 150 life on each item.
Yeah, this is fair.
And I've been trying to do that. I'm also taking 6 life wheels.
Well, hopefully Faustus is going to sell this thing. I put it at a 20% markdown from the next cheapest price, hoping that it sells before somebody realizes there's a mistake. For some reason, a 2120 Herald of Ash, the cheapest on the market when I checked was 5 div. And that
does not sound correct for a level 21 gem.
It just doesn't sound right.
I don't know. There's some wild stuff going on with the economy right now.
The economy's been wild for a while, though. At least, it does not feel like we are in a mirror-based economy anymore.
Well, and the define to chaos ratios finally sorted out. There was a period of time where it was 400 chaos to the divine, and now it's settled back out. Yeah, it's been in the 250 to 270 range for several days now, which is fine. That's reasonable. The 400 to 1 was not reasonable.
So, and maybe like it does feel like as I look at this, there are some things where I'm like, I just don't think PoE players understand like a whole lot about economics. Why is an Omen of Connections 1 div and a Black Morgan is 90 chaos?
Because it's a heck of a lot easier to get a Black Morgan.
Yes, but they do the same thing.
Right, I know. It's just it's how hard it is to get the item. It's always been that way with Beastcraft items. They've always been cheaper than the equivalent to do it otherwise. Like, I don't know why anybody links anything with omens, but unless you're doing ritual and getting them yourself. Because, like, I've got a bunch of Omen of Jewelers. If you need one of those.
Yes. That's the six
Six
jewel-
socket.
Yeah,
Six socket for 1. Yeah.
I definitely need that. I've got a Cloak of Flames on my Dances with Wolves character that I'm gonna want 6 sockets on. This is my other YOLO build. It's less YOLO. It's kind of Ash and I's secret project.
Yeah, secret project. It's been my project more than once before, and I'm hoping this one works out better.
Oh, it's gonna work out. This is gonna.
I know better now, though, so that should help.
This is gonna be so funny.
There's an item that drops from, it actually drops from Oshabi, so it's amazing that anybody actually gets this at all. Although I guess with the Bloodline, people now have a reason to go kill Oshabi. But it's called Law of the Wilds, and it gives you a chance to make a Spectral Wolf whenever you crit. Level 25 Spectral Wolf. This is a minion, scales with all the normal minion things, grants you a little bit of extra physical damage on attacks, but it's got kind of stupid numbers. You can see this if you get the ring that summons them, because you can equip that at level 20, and at which point it will run through the rest of the campaign for you. And the gloves the claw has an even better version. The downside is you need to attack things and crit with a claw. So you need a minion build that has a high crit chance. You can use Cyclone for this. You can use Static Strike for this. You can even use Cobra Lash for this. Various other claw type things. That one seems like really a bad idea because it would be awful in single target, though.
Diamond Shrine from the new belt.
If you can afford that mirror.
I already have my belt slots already taken.
Okay. Diamond Shrine is you just always crit, basically.
It is. This would be a great item to have for this build, but that item is, let's call it, economically out of reach.
Yeah, no, like it's multiple mirrors right now for one of those, I think.
My current plan is Cyclone, see how cheap I can get all of my spells linked with inspiration.
Are you also going to be doing the minus mana rings?
That was the thought, like, because if I'm doing cast while channeling Cyclone, I definitely need to make everything cheaper that I'm casting while channeling. And the idea that I'm currently operating on is, what if I got Leash of Oblation and just did all 3 offerings on cast while channeling?
I have seen this.
And with the node that gives me half the benefit of offerings.
Because that gives you some block and some crit and some attack speed, all of which are nice things to have.
And attack speed's apparently very good with Cyclone, is my understanding.
Yes, because Cyclone is way too slow by default.
So what I've also decided I want the Feral node that gives me 5% attack speed per minion around me up to 80%, which is, the max number of wolves I can summon with this is 10, right? By default?
I think so, yes.
Yeah,
so this is why I also picked up a Dark Monarch for Spectral Wolves.
So you can have up to 20 Spectral Wolves.
And then probably the most expensive item would be getting Congregate support. I think that's actually more expensive than the Squire.
Getting what?
Congregate support.
Oh.
What boss even drops Congregate support?
Isn't it like it's all of the new empowered supports? I thought that was like
they drop from various other places. No, they drop from. That's the big change from Awakened Gems. These all drop all over the place.
Right. Like every boss now has a reason to run it because it drops specific gems. Because like that was kind of the pain in the ass with Awakened Gems is they all came from Maven. Like,
Incarnation
so you had
of
to.
Dread.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Oh,
Like,
then
yeah, like I mean, if you run Egan, I mean, you should be able to eventually get those to start dropping. Maybe.
I mean, we have no idea what the drop rate is, but it does drop off of the normal version.
I'm understanding why Greater Multi-Strike is so annoying.
Does it drop off serious?
Can only be found in the Zealot's Vault after completing a shaped region in the Northeast Atlas Quadrant.
I don't even fully understand what all of those words mean.
Yeah, so like the problem with that is, so okay, when you run it, like astrolabes are a thing that they put in with this put back in, like it's a thing that's existed in various forms, but basically each one has some kind of requirement on it in order to get credit for running a map, and the number of options you get when you get to the vault is dictated by how many of the maps you achieved the objective in.
Aha.
So otherwise you could just go into a map, rush the boss, leave. Go into a map, rush the boss, leave. But like, you know, fruiting astrolabe, for example, is do the Sacred Grove in every single map. And I think the max you can get is 3 options in the vault. But I don't know how many you have to run in order to get that. Like I was just doing them in every map. But yeah, like it's kind of like the blueprint room in a heist. You're given a room with a bunch of treasure chests and you can see what's in each one.
Got it. Yeah. I actually like that. I like that I always liked the things that adjust what a map is asking you to do on it.
Since we lost Atlas missions, this is kind of the replacement.
Well, the one thing I like about astrolabes is Maven Witnesses always felt counterintuitive to the way I wanted to do maps, because like by default I would run exactly the same map over and over and over and over, and you can't witness when you're doing that because Maven will only allow you to collect 1 copy of each boss. However, you know, when you pop an astrolabe and it highlights 8 different maps, might as well do Maven Witnesses at that point. Yeah, because you're going to be running through a bunch of different bosses, so it doesn't feel as counterintuitive.
I really like that this game is giving me the double dose of do you really want to do that? With if you have less than 50 enemies alive, bosses are empowered by Wildwood Wisps, and if you have fewer enemies alive, Maven summons 3 extra bosses, which are all empowered by Wildwood Wisps.
I'm sure it's not a problem.
It's a good option.
Like that's
more loot,
a juicy amount of loot
if they don't kill you.
Yeah, this is where I am currently feeling maybe a little squishy is when I max out a Verazium node. That's pretty scary now. I am starting to not max out my Verazium nodes because
that was a lesson I had to learn during Crucible League.
Because it turns out, while other Calgar or doesn't bother me at all, I took the thing that lets me have get more Verazium and also power it up longer, and that'll kill me.
That is not linear. They're using this. Assuming they're using the same mechanic they used during Crucible, which I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly the same.
It's not linear at all.
On my RF character, I channel them all the way up, but I have 8,400 health on my RF character.
Yeah, reasonable.
8,400 and 3,000 regen.
I should get more health.
Like the health that you are running is probably reasonable before they added way more life to all the gear.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm dealing with. Is I'm used to numbers that are like crafted is like fine, but crafted is no longer fine.
Yeah, like I don't really feel comfortable unless I've got at least 4,000 life on any of the characters I play.
I mean, I don't know. I'm almost about to get to level 93, which I feel is a achievement all in of its own.
Well, and your life is going to keep going up every level a little bit.
Well, not a ton.
What armor base are you using?
ES armor.
May have some good items to throw your way.
Yeah, like I would not be upset about more ES armor stuff.
Well, I've tweaked my breach tree because I keep trying to get slightly more perfect regen gloves, and as a result, it's creating lots and lots of life gear in general. Because even though you say give me more gloves, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to be a glove. So I probably have various items of different slots. I'll go rifle through my bank and see what I have.
Yeah, I'm currently my chest is my only uniques I am using is a lightning coil chest and a replica Fang's flight amulet.
Oh yeah, so you got plenty of room to throw on some additional items.
Yeah, but I've got a ton of items. I'm sure there's plenty of room for improvement. I do have some amount of stat squish that I'm fixing with items, so but other than that, I should be fine. And I can always take a point out and put it into, well, maybe I could have. I'm realizing I don't have any terribly close 30 dex nodes anymore. Maybe I could run a lower level of precision. Anyways, YOLOing builds in PoE 1 still not necessarily recommended for early trials, but once you get good at it, it is a lot of fun. I wish it was easier to do.
I feel like this discussion blends into what we've been talking about: creative expression versus mastery expression.
Yeah, like it's one of those things that I've been thinking about, like as listening to people talk about PoE, and like I don't know, comparing to playing Star Trek Online and just being like, I don't feel like I have a character in PoE or Last Epoch. Not the same way that I had a character in World of Warcraft or in Baldur's Gate 3. And like Baldur's Gate 3 probably isn't a super fair comparison because there's a whole lot of more narrative going on there that's not going on in PoE, but like
I mean, also there's a lot more narrative going on in your average MMO than there is in your average ARPG.
It's true.
Yes.
I
mean, I'd call out something like City of Heroes, where every character I ever
Yeah.
built was a character.
Yeah, like City of Heroes is one of those ones that's like, I definitely feel like there's a lot of character in the thing I'm putting together, even though there's less narrative in City of Heroes than there is in PoE. Sure.
That's fair.
And but like it's definitely the kind of thing that I was thinking about, spending a lot of time thinking about, because like in Star Trek, I definitely have a lot of build going on, but it feels like a character, but it doesn't have to. It like rides an interesting line there. But I'm struggling to pin down like where is that line? Like what makes me go, oh yeah, this feels like it's a character. One of the things I do a lot is minis painting and putting together like Warhammer armies and so forth. And I can feel myself, like as soon as I'm telling myself stories about them in my head, I'm so much more attached to them than when I'm thinking about them as these are the units that go in my list.
Yeah.
So I do have in PoE a ton of builds, but I definitely have 2 characters. And it's entirely in the MTX packages I put together. Like
I was just going to say, I feel like some level of cosmetic control is definitely important.
Yeah, I mean, I wear exactly the same MTX on every RF character I've ever played. Like that is my RF character wears this outfit. It's the one that adorns the top of my blog.
That is not true for me. Like I play a bunch of different characters, usually trying to do something with melee, but like it is a deer man with a stag head on like beast hunter armor, and I just love the look of it. And I'm always like, it doesn't matter. Like this is Kodra. This is the character. If I'm playing a character named Kodra, or prefixed Kodra, it's because like I have so many different Kodras from all of my different leagues. But like the one I am currently playing is going to have this specific MTX, and that's what makes it that character. Similar with Nidra, who has a very specific MTX that I always like to, and like it's funny because I don't feel like I'm playing the character until I like go in and equip the MTX, usually within the first town.
Yeah,
it's
like the first thing that I do in line as I watch is put on some MTX, and that becomes that character's MTX.
Yeah, it's actually fascinating to hear because like the cosmetic there is then like making the character transcend being a build checklist.
Correct.
And I find that
Like
fascinating because I know you don't care about cosmetics like 80% of the time. And like that's really, really interesting. Like it is a crucial piece of that,
like that's part of what makes it feel like a distinctive individual and not just, a cookie cutter,
yeah. Like
thing that I'm piloting around.
one of the things that I've always struggled to get into board games for this reason because I just don't feel like I'm playing a build. I'm not playing a character. There's not like a piece of personal expression on it. But I can absolutely see that like, oh no, this is the like visual that absolutely just clicks with me.
Yeah.
At which point, yep, that's the thing. Like that's the character.
It's really interesting because one of the games we haven't played it recently, but we played a ton of Madara, and Madara, which is a board game, definitely has it has a bunch of characters, and those characters have like static art in the game and all of that, but like their builds can be completely customized. Like when you're putting together a collection of mechanics, that is your build. And when I like watch other people play Madara, it feels wrong because they're playing what I view as my character, but without the capabilities that character is in my head supposed to have.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Because
and, like, I get that with
part of
something
the
like Lunar.
character, yeah, is that these are the things that they can do, and these are the ways that they solve problems.
And like I have specific things that my characters are able to do to solve problems in combat, and so when I see other people playing those same characters, it feels weird. So I mostly don't watch other people play this game unless I'm trying to ask myself, how did anyone in the world actually beat this encounter? The answer is almost always they weren't properly reading the rules.
Oh my.
Oh no.
But yeah, I think for me a lot of it is I have to have sufficient control over the character to be able to make some interesting choices in their creation. And then that leads me to think about, okay, what sort of person wears these clothes? What sort of person chose this way to interact with the world? And then it becomes a character.
I also build characters very frequently a little bit backwards. Definitely starting mechanics first, but then imagining, what is the character that fits the shape of this mechanic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that a lot in like Pathfinder. Oh, here's a couple of things I want to like click together. Where can I go with this?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I feel like most of the time for tabletop role playing, like I'll be like, okay, I want to play this class this time. And let's try this background. Okay. How do I make this make sense? what what does that turn into? And that's how I end up playing, a dwarf warlock who communes with the ancient old ones and carries that one axe from Ankarash that had a giant eyeball in it.
It also means I have a bunch of characters in my head that like I know I at some point want to play.
Yeah, that feeds into it too. Yeah.
It's like I know at some point I have a character who is gonna be a fighter fighting with two shields because I think that would be rad. And like their backstory is they were a bodyguard for somebody and they failed to properly protect them, or for some reason became an adventurer. There's a bunch of this is where like I need to know the story the GM is trying to tell so that like I can make sure my backstory fits into it. But I also like this is also where there are I also see this challenge sometimes with Lancer. And I know we talked about that, where Lancer, because of the way the like mechanics are so kind of detached, like they're just a mech you're piloting, and it's very changeable from level to level. It feels more like a build rather than a character.
Yeah, I definitely have that in Lancer.
I feel like I'm in a Lancer campaign that is just barely getting off the ground. And I definitely already have a sense of character, and I'm still LL0. Like I barely have any mechanics to work with. But I have a character who has a job and a background and history, because for this particular campaign, the GM put a very strong emphasis on actually developing the characters early.
Yeah, I can see that.
We've gotten quiet, and this pause will have gotten edited out, but it sounds like we're winding down. Any short topics?
I do want to mention that it has been a really, really good week for Lost Media.
Oh, yes.
About a week ago, 2 First Doctor episodes were discovered. 2 episodes from the Daleks Master Plan. Like, it's been 13 years since new Doctor Who episodes were found. We had reached the point where we just didn't think there were any more out there. And then yesterday, the final missing episode of Mystery Science Theater was made available on the internet. Somebody found it in a garage sale in Minneapolis. It's the 3rd episode of the Kitma season. So,
Oh, that's super cool.
yeah, like that was the only one missing that like nobody had. And like it's not like it's a particularly good episode. Like it's really early in the Kitma season, so it's when it was basically still just you watch the movie and every so often Joel says something. But just like
It's complete
finally
wow.
having that last one.
Yeah, it's a piece of history.
Yeah. And it's also like incredibly good quality because it's like a direct transfer from the master tapes, apparently. But yeah,
Do we
it's just,
know
it's
how
neat.
many missing Who episodes there are?
I think it's around 90. Like it's a lot. And it's 1st and 2nd Doctor.
Yeah, the really, really early stuff was pretty bad.
Because basically the BBC, they just wiped all the tapes just as a matter of course as they went along. And so the stuff that survived were episodes that had been sent to British colonies to air there and were saved.
Yeah, and then there was like a cache of someone who just recorded everything on television, and there were a couple that were from that too, I remember.
Yeah. And then eventually, we reached the point where, people actually have access to video recorders and, there's at least something available for everything.
Like I forget the story of it, but like there was this person that just sort of indiscriminately recorded television.
I think there was I think it was a woman in New York, but basically, just masses and masses of cassettes. And all of the Lost Media hounds like worship her. But yeah, so my Mystery Science Theater collection is finally complete until the next 4 episodes come out. But I'll have those immediately, so it's fine.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.